broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Let's go.
Let's go indeed, because we are live on AfterBuzzTV.com. You're watching the AfterBuzz YouTube page. You're listening on iTunes and SoundCloud. You are liking, subscribing, getting them 5 stars, because we are here to talk about the 2016 Royal Rumble, and what a Rumble it was. Welcome, everybody. I'm Christian Rosenberg. Follow me on Twitter at Real Rosenberg, Instagram, The Real Rosenberg. The lovely lady to my left, at Chris Reports, it's Miss Christy Olson.
Hello there.
And over else there, that's a word, on the table as well, with a Hideo Itami action figure.
That's right.
At G. Hermoza, it's this encyclopedia of sports entertainment.
George Hermoza, how are you?
That's good. It's been a while since I've seen you.
I know, I've missed you.
I've missed you too.
How was Hawaii?
Do you guys need a second?
We might.
I know, we're talking here.
Yeah. Come on, Christy. No, Hawaii was good. Thank you for asking. Happy to be back here. Happy to be here on the pay-per-view AfterBuzz again.
Woo.
And guys, this Rumble, honestly, from top to bottom, I really enjoyed it. And we were all so close in that damn predictions title, too.
Yes. My fingers crossed for a 4-way tie, guys.
That's okay. I was champion for 2 months. I figured I'd let someone else have it.
I haven't been champion in 2 years, and I was close. But I guess congrats to Steve, Steve Kaufmann, for winning.
Behold the king of kings.
Of course he wants to do that. You almost fell just now.
You're missing quite a display, podcast listeners.
I did not. Please join us on YouTube for the display I just gave there.
At Steve
The
Kaufmann.
champ is here. You can follow me at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. Thank you for joining us.
I've never felt more confidence come off of you as you have right now, because you got that predictions title in front of you.
I don't know if you're telling me I'm usually not confident.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm kidding. Oh man, but
No, you're good.
But guys, this Rumble tonight, we saw some tremendous matches, and B, we already got hints to some of our WrestleMania matches tonight. And we'll just go right from the beginning, the kickoff match. But overall thoughts, just like real quick, overall thoughts on the show.
If I'm comparing it to the last 2 Royal Rumble just shows, wonderful. Amazing, they've knocked it out of the park. If you compare it to Royal Rumbles in general, or pay-per-views in general, a little above middle of the road. Which is still, there's a lot of pay-per-views. Wasn't a bad show.
George?
If I were to give a rating between 1 and like 67, I'd give it like a 56.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I liked it a lot.
Christy?
Well, I thought that Dean and Kevin stole the show, and after that it slowed down a little bit for me, but, it was all right.
I think this was the best Rumble in at least 5 years.
Oh.
So,
Excuse us.
because I love the matches. I thought the Rumble really was anybody's game for most of the match. But let's get into. We got the kickoff match to talk about first. 4-way tag team match to get those last 2 coveted spots in the Royal Rumble. We have the Dudleys versus Ascension versus Mark Henry and Jack Swagger versus Darren Young and Damien Sandow. First off, the ovation for Damien Sandow was tremendous. And I really hope they heard that in the back, because it was hard not to hear it.
Yeah, that's difficult for that. Because he teamed up with Curtis Axel, and they had a good thing going. And then Curtis Axel had to be stripped of his gimmick for a really big TMZ-ish reason. And then he just kind of got lost in that lurch. And I had a weird prediction or thought that they were going to have Damien Sandow come out as Damien Bryan Dow. So to Daniel Bryan's music in the Royal Rumble match.
He would have been the most hated man in the arena if that happened.
Maybe more so than Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But he'd be capable of taking on that kind of heat if they wanted to make him a heel, and then the next day he can come on the mic and say, I don't like any of you. They didn't do that.
I don't know. I loved seeing him back as the intellectual savior. And he did the elbow of disdain.
The Kobito
I can never pronounce it right.
Well, we're going to have to get it down now, boys.
Yeah. Well, it's back, which is great.
I'm sure somebody in the chat room will spell it phonetically, hopefully.
A random fact that it didn't even dawn on me that was announced during this match, that Devon has never been in a Royal Rumble. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's correct.
How does that even happen?
I don't know.
2000, he faced the Hardys, not in the Roman match. 2001, Edge and Christian. 2002, they faced, I want to say Spike and Taz. They just never were in the belt.
You know so much random
2003, I think they faced like Batista and Ric Flair, and they just weren't in the Rumble match.
Yeah, they were always too busy being an awesome tag team.
And I think last year when Bubba Ray returned, I think that was probably his first Rumble match ever.
I think they said that too.
It was his first Rumble match ever, and I'm pretty sure R-Truth just kind of took Devon's place for the Get the Tables gimmick.
Yeah,
I might be incorrect with who.
I don't remember.
Although someone else who's never been in a Rumble match is Razor Ramon.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's not going to happen.
The more you know, everybody. Yeah. There was the finish on this match seemed very confusing. So Dudley's hit a 3D on Victor. They're going for the pin. It looks like Connor's going to break it up, but then it's almost like he seems to be waiting for Devon to come at him. And then Swagger just grabs Bubba's ankle and puts him in the Patriot lock from the floor. So then Devon and Connor are fighting. Henry runs and splashes on Bubba. And then he's getting ready to start trying to pin Bubba. Swagger goes, no, pin him. And then he crawls over and pins Victor, who laid motionless for about 15 seconds after the 3D. And Mark Henry and Jack Swagger win the match. But it just seemed like the match was great. Honestly, I enjoyed this match. I thought everyone had good moments, but then that ending just seemed really lost.
Well, and this is a pre-show match.
Yes.
So the whole point of a pre-show, because you can watch the pre-show for free, and you have to pay for the pay-per-view or the event. You have to pay for the network to watch the event. Is you want to get people excited for the actual match. So of the teams in this, obviously the Ascension is just kind of there. Because they're in this limbo where they would probably be better served to just go back down to NXT and get reworked. But they're still in this limbo. They don't have a lot of tag teams, so they still use them. Henry Swagger seemed like people who would just be in the Rumble. And then Darren Young, Damien Sandow were my choices to win, because that would be the most exciting choice. Because going into this event, these guys might actually go through and do something in the Royal Rumble, and the Dudleys would have been another good choice. They didn't do that. They went with Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, and then there was no talk of this might be Mark Henry's last Royal Rumble. There was no talk of... I
was surprised about that. I expected them to kind of say, because Mark Henry's mentioned that in interviews recently.
And then, they didn't no talk of Jack Swagger. Yeah, he's technically a former world champion, but he's not, he hasn't really made it to the mountaintop. He has something to prove. Actually give me a reason to buy your pay-per-view, if you will. That was my take on this 7 minutes 58-second match.
I didn't think the Ascension made that poor of a showing. That actually watching them again with the Dudleys kind of made me excited. Remember when they had a feud for a hot second when the Dudleys first came back? I was like, let's revisit that.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not hating on the Ascension. I'm hating on how they've treated booked the Ascension up to now.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, that's a whole different day.
But yeah, Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, victorious. So they have those two coveted spots.
Surprise, surprise.
Will they use those spots to their advantage? Spoiler, no, they didn't.
No.
But the pay-per-view officially begins with Vince and Stephanie arriving backstage. JoJo's back there to interview them, and Vince, in the true gentleman that he is, he squats down to be at JoJo's height.
Well, at first he says, "Hey, JoJo," and part of me was joking, Vince knows who JoJo is?
Right.
Vince just doesn't... even the character on TV doesn't strike me as someone who's incredibly in touch with what's going on around him. That, like, for him to actually know who JoJo is, oh, that's a weird character trait.
Well, it's amazing that he knows his employees.
Yeah, he obviously watches Total Divas.
But it's like,
Hello.
But it wasn't Renee.
Obviously.
Like, Renee's on TV a bunch. JoJo's not on TV a bunch. That it would have been funnier if he just called her Christy.
I would have been okay with that.
Well, I think the biggest thing in this little interview in the back was that Vince proclaimed that he loves himself.
Yep.
That was probably about it.
It was cute. Can I just say, before we move into that, on the pre-show, Jerry Lawler was on the pre-show panel.
Yes.
Oh, this was fun.
And Byron, there seemed to be a little switcheroo there. And he was being very heelish. I was kind of live
Well, he's a heel on SmackDown now.
SmackDown now.
But like, people were like, oh, wow. I mean, he said that Becky Lynch had daddy issues, and like, I mean...
Well, but that was all a
he
reason...
was really driving it home, is what I'm saying.
But that was all a reason for him to use his very coveted, like, two-line jokes. Of just... All I'm saying is she took her first steps and her dad tripped her. Like, he wanted to... That was all a setup for him to tell those jokes. Because, like, if you go on Jerry Lawler's IMDb page, of all places, there's just, like, pages upon pages of these zingers that he's used throughout his entire career that you can totally use at roasts.
Do you guys think there was a reason for this switcheroo?
Well, for one, that panel didn't normally have a heel at all. And... I mean, they're really pushing Byron, and rightfully so. Right now he's the only one on both Raw and SmackDown, and I was kind of surprised that they did move Byron to the Rumble and Overall. I think maybe if they're going to make that switch, start it on a smaller pay-per-view like Fastlane, but I was fine with it. And Byron, I thought, did a fantastic job tonight with Cole and JBL.
Yeah, because part of that job is you just shouldn't notice. Like, you shouldn't always notice the commentator. So, like, Byron fit in very nicely with him. Like, no, I'm hearing all the action.
Yep.
Because you hear Michael Cole's voice gets very hoarse by the end of this. Like, that was the only thing I really noticed other than the content that everyone was saying.
Well, part of his voice being hoarse might have been because in the Last Man Standing match, Ambrose versus Owens, in the first, like, minute of the match, Owens killed Michael Cole.
Well, yeah.
Actually, Steve, fun fact. I've been watching a couple... Mark in the booth. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Mark.
I've been rewatching a couple of people's favorites Royal Rumbles this weekend, and every single one that Michael Cole did announcing for, he has lost his voice.
Really?
Yes. Ever since 1999, he has lost his voice at every single Royal Rumble.
Because they're exciting.
Yeah, dude, that's somebody who is into his job. I like it.
Get it. That is another more you know moment right there.
So and it wasn't George!
So you watch every Rumble since '99 that Michael Cole has announced?
Not this weekend, but within the past couple of months. Just because Rumbles are fun.
Rumbles are so much fun.
It's my favorite match of the year.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that a couple times this week.
Well, because it's my favorite match of the year. But yeah, Ambrose Owens, last man standing.
Wow.
Chairs, tables, kendo sticks.
Attitude.
I will say,
Sure.
Recently on the SmackDown panel, I mentioned that I'm not a big fan of last man standing matches. I just think they're so anticlimactic, and very much so, especially with how the last couple or few last man standing matches have ended with the whole, like, let's tie him up, and then he can't get up for 10 seconds. Let's put the announcing table on Big Show so he can't get up. I've always been a big fan of more like, I want you to beat the guy down so hard that he can't get up for 10 seconds. And I think that's what this match kind of brought to the table. Like, they wanted to beat the crap out of each other to the point where, like, you know, literally the last man standing. And I am very happy with this match.
And it was rare for a last man standing match to be, like, around the ring the entire time. Mm-hmm. You don't... I mean, they're usually, like, up the stage... Maybe in the crowd. I mean, who knows?
It was real good of them. They got the 20 minutes they needed to tell this story of just you can't beat me. You're gonna have to beat me down so much I cannot get up.
Yeah,
because that's the only way you can even kind of beat me, and that's the mentality about these.
And it's one thing. It always looks painful when someone goes through a table. Yeah, it's another thing when you go through two tables that might be side by side. It's another thing when they're standing on top of each other and you get thrown from over the top rope to the outside through two tables, which is exactly what happened to Kevin Owens. Ow.
This match definitely deserved all the holy-ish chants that it got during the match, or the This Is Awesome chants. This match was just unbelievable from top to bottom.
Yeah, I love this match.
What I loved about the table spot is that they set it up, and then we forgot about it for a while. And you're like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, those tables are there. There he goes.
Yeah, actually, shout out to Tom DeCom. I was watching Normal with him earlier today, and he said the exact same thing. He's like, I completely forgot the tables were there. Because he set them up, but then they never panned back to them with the camera. So all of a sudden, when Owens was climbing the rope, and then he got pushed, once he got pushed, then the camera showed him. So you didn't even see him when Owens was climbing the ropes.
In your mind's eye, you forget the tables are there, so you think he's just going to the floor.
Yeah. So great finish. God bless you, champion.
Real quick, you're a big internet guy. Were there a lot of Kevin Steen versus John Moxley matches years ago when they were pre-WWE? Would you know that?
I wouldn't know that offhand. I'm sure there was at
like
least...
was Kevin Steen in CZW a lot, or
not a whole lot?
So maybe not.
I don't even know who these people are that you're talking about.
So that's why I'm talking to Steve.
Oh, got it.
These two people were friends of Kevin Owens.
Just random guys. Just random guys. Just felt like asking them side conversation.
They wrestled in bingo halls with light tubes. It was weird. I do not know. I'm sure someone in the chat would be able to know that a little better. I know Kevin Steen wasn't in CZW that much.
Okay.
From there, we go to the Tag Team Championship. New Day defending against the Usos. Kofi and Big E come out at first because they're talking about that they're still in mourning over the loss of the fourth member of New Day, Francesca. But fear not, unicorns. We have a new member of the New Day, and her name is Francesca 2. Yes! The power of positivity. I mean, we even changed the lights in here and everything.
Pinking it up.
Oh! The pop that the trombone got was fantastic. And I'm honestly surprised that Francesca 2 was not the number one trend on Twitter. I'm sure it trended.
It was close.
Yeah, it couldn't overlap Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble was right up there, and then the NFC Championship was a blowout.
And WWE is thrilled that the NFC Championship was a blowout.
Yes.
But, yeah, we have Francesca 2, and we have Francesca 2 because, according to Xavier Woods, a brother has needs. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I am.
And
Easily replaceable needs, apparently.
2016 is all gold everything according to New Day. And they're talking about retaining their tag titles and winning the Rumble itself later on that night.
And I do love how they, as an act, don't have to do heel face anymore. Like, they go out there and just do their act, and they don't have, like...
But Woods did turn heel.
Well, yes.
We did have the heel moment in the match, which I love, because the crowd was asking for the trombone, and Woods got ready to do it, and then he put the trombone down. He's like, no, I'm going to play when I want to play. That's nothing. You guys don't get it.
Yeah. I never thought I'd hear a play Francesca chant from the crowd or any crowd at all. That was awesome.
And that was a bit of a smart crowd.
And I say this all the time, too. It's still a little surreal to me, just about a year ago, that New Day was like the complete opposite of over. Like, you're just like, these guys were just random guys, like, oh, who are these guys? And then give them the mic, and then lo and behold, they're probably the best.
The term began after last year's WrestleMania because the New Day sucks chant began then.
Well, they were in Philadelphia, where I also was. And not only that, but you can find it when Big E came out to the New Day music. Not only did they chant New Day sucks and like give him the business, at some point you can see him scream "F you Philly" on his way to the ring. Just like take it all in and just be like "F you Philly," and then on his way to the ring, because we just weren't having it. Because they didn't let him talk yet. They didn't let the characters actually breathe and the act become what it's become now, which is just pure entertainment.
These guys are just becoming maybe even the best three-man faction of all time. These guys are insanely amazing.
I'm waiting for them to win a singles title, and then they rotate who defends it. I'm like, it's a New Day title. It's owned by the New Day.
Yeah.
You don't know who you're going to face.
Big E won the U.S. title, and then next week
Woods defends it.
Fight Xavier Woods.
Right.
But so as far as the tag title goes,
yes.
Are Mark Henry and Jack Swagger like the number one contenders now?
God, no.
I don't know who, because there's not a whole lot of tag teams on the main roster.
I think Usos are still going to be around for a little while, because this was an excellent match, which we expect out of these guys. Big E catching, I don't remember if it was Jimmy or Jay. But,
well, obviously.
Bear with me. It's kind of difficult to tell them apart. Big E caught him when he's going for his top rope splash, and he caught him in mid-form of the big ending. And what I loved was because Biggie, he's besides being extremely talented, those three guys, the New Day, are also very smart wrestlers. For example, Big E's finisher, it's not a sudden finisher. You need to prepare it so the crowd sees it coming. He could have simply just like kind of jumped in the motion of it with Uso off the top, but people wouldn't have caught on that it was the big ending.
He's got to catch it.
By him catching him, putting him in position, turning, then striking, it's like, oh my God, he caught him in his finisher. And I thought that was fantastic.
Absolutely.
I love that too from this group, from the New Day specifically, because it's good to see someone. It's good to see someone who's so over with the microphone also be so good in the ring.
Oh, by the way, Tina Keys in the chat said apparently on WWE Shop there was a Francesca tribute shirt.
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I did not see that.
WWE Shop has been having like little flash sales for stuff like that. That they'll only sell the shirt for like a short period of time, like 2 weeks.
Like,
Wow.
I'm not buying enough stuff and checking it obsessively the way it is. They have to do that to us.
But they do like, I think it's like a $15 shirt.
But here's Mark in the booth
$25 shirt.
blowing it up.
Wow.
A $25 Francesca tribute shirt. That's classy. That is a classy shirt.
I cannot wait
I could
till
cut the sleeves off that.
I cannot wait till that's in the clearance section for $4. I'm a men's large.
But yeah,
I'm a
great.
patient man.
Great tag team title match. But yeah, so, I mean, that is a fair question. So, if they do not continue with the Usos, who would be next in line? Because Sin Cara is out, so there's no Lucha Dragons.
But Callisto's a champ.
Yeah.
But, well, yeah. So, I mean, that's really irrelevant at this point. But yeah, who would there be in the tag team division?
Dudley's Ascension.
But Dudley's have already done it.
Social Outcasts.
That I'd be down with.
I'd be down with, but I think moving forward to WrestleMania, I think you're gonna the Dudleys are gonna want those belts because they haven't gotten those belts. They've gotten all the other belts, and I think that would be a good Mania moment and a reason for them to come back is if we're building towards a New Day Dudleys, where the New Day can dial up the heel a little bit and the Dudleys can dial up the nostalgia and the faceness a little bit, and we can have that feel good WrestleMania moment for the Dudleys over the New Day. That's what I want. What I realize will probably happen is every tag team they could possibly throw together is going to be in the pre-show to WrestleMania. And it's going to be like a 5-team match, including the Dudleys, including the New Day, and it's going to be like the division's going to look weak again.
Sure.
But it is. It is because we're scratching our heads to name more than 3 teams.
Yeah.
It's time for a tag team to come up from NXT.
Hey, Titus and Darren. Oh, wait.
Enzo and Carmelo's got to be.
They can bring up Enzo and Big Cass without Carmelo.
No, it has to be all 3 of them.
No,
It doesn't have to be.
American Alpha.
Vaudevillains, I think, could be the next team to come up. American Alpha is going to be incredible.
Oh, they're going to be. They need a strong division to come into.
I want them to win the NXT tag titles first before they go up there and have a reign down there. But again, that's something that we can talk on the NXT AfterBuzz. That's on Wednesday nights. Ain't that right, Mark?
That's right, Wednesday nights at 6 p.m.
Hey.
Radio voice.
Yeah, he's got that. Wyatt promo. Talking about how we've slaughtered the beast, we have slaughtered the chosen one, and tonight we are going to slaughter them all. When the dust settles. I can't do a Bray impression very good. When the dust settles, I will truly have the whole world in my hands. I thought this was a great short promo, hyping them up. And like reminding you, hey, all 4 of them are going to be in the Rumble.
And he didn't need to say that last year he had the most eliminations in the match by himself. He didn't need to say that. We remember that. He can prove himself to that every time he steps into the ring.
I didn't remember that Bray had the most eliminations
He
last year.
eliminated Daniel Bryan in the middle of the match.
I remember that.
And turned the whole crowd. Turned the whole crowd on the match.
Yep.
That wasn't his fault. But he had the most eliminations. He looked really strong. And he was one of those 5 people that you were just he might just win.
Devin Gray in the chat, J&J Security for the tag titles.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Book it now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of give just maybe even for a month or so, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns
just have a team for a little bit.
Yeah,
they could do that too.
Well, because you have to hold Reigns H off till Mania, so that would be a holding pattern, or any combination of the League of Nations like Rusev and Del Rio, or Why am I blanking? Sure, Sheamus and Rusev.
You're blanking because you don't feel like they're an actual group.
Right.
I actually do, though.
Well, do you? Because
like last Monday night, they looked like a group of people with a common goal who were defeated and banded together to keep moving
They're
forward.
not a
They
group.
actually felt like a good...
Actual
good group.
You
not
just
necessarily a
said
wrestling stable.
Callisto versus Del Rio, which we're about to get into, where there was no League of Nations members anywhere inside the entire
They're not
match.
a group until they have a T-shirt.
Don't they have a T-shirt?
Do they?
I'm sure they have a T-shirt.
WWE
Show me.
Shop. Do we have a
WWEshop.com.
T-shirt? Do we have a T-shirt for League of Nations? Let's find out. I think they got music, which they
Yeah.
never use. But yeah, Callisto versus Alberto Del Rio. Again, another very good back and forth match. I didn't think it was as good as the match that Callisto won the title on, but still, I thought a very, very good match. And this was finally the one time Callisto wins without a roll-up. He actually pinned him in the middle of the ring. And again, I was surprised that no Barrett, no Rusev, no Shane, because Del Rio was the only one that had a match besides the Rumble, and no one came out to help him at all.
That is an interesting choice, especially because they're just hot-shotting this title. Because when they had Callisto just go over Del Rio weeks ago, and then just have him to drop it back on SmackDown, I felt like you gave him this great moment, like have this be a defense at the Royal Rumble where more people are going to see it and talk about it. But then, nope, he's not champ, now he's champ again, and they're going to hot-shot it, and it's going to be a little strange, but I do like the chips that are behind Callisto, at least right now. But I also think it's weird that they're a heel, or at least we could have gotten something somewhere of Del Rio saying, I don't need those three people to help me. I can beat Callisto on my own. Callisto's a chump.
So he's going back to Mex America?
No, not that I'm leaving the League of Nations, but that, and maybe even just something as simple as maybe someone on Twitter asks him that and he says, no, the League of Nations specifically exists to keep Roman Reigns from being world champion. Those are our actual goals. So me trying to stay United States champion isn't actually the goal. But he didn't say that. Nobody said that. Nobody implied that. And I think that's where we feel this way, where it's like, wait, but they're like dastardly heels. Why don't they just gang up on everybody always?
It's one of those things that's kind of missing in wrestling, where even like a 3-second line from one of the commentators can fix all those things. You know, like, oh, Alberto Del Rio wanted to come out alone. Little tiny things like that. Like, he wanted to beat Callisto without any help. You know, he's got the confidence. Like, little things like that. So I think that's what's missing in wrestling these days. But, I mean, I thought the match was okay. Like you said, I thought their Raw match from a few weeks ago was a lot better. I mean, a little underwhelming, to be honest with you. I feel like... but I do feel like they are going to start to try to see how Callisto is, maybe in that Rey Mysterio role from maybe like 10 years ago. So kudos to Callisto. You know, hopefully he definitely deserves it.
Do you think this feud will continue?
Yes.
No.
I don't need it to.
Here's what I think will happen. I think
What do you think's gonna happen?
Del Rio's going to lose again. Then he's going to put on a mask. And then we're going to do mask versus mask at WrestleMania. Because WWE loves to break records. And a baseball stadium that isn't AT&T Stadium, they broke a record of largest group wearing masks. And I've heard for a long time WWE's wanted that record. And they thought...
Yeah, they wanted it with Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara.
They wanted a Rey Mysterio Sin Cara. That can't work. But Dos Caras Jr. was Alberto Del Rio's old name, and he did wear a mask. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that or another mask, and then put that together and put an extra flair, and then have mask versus mask match. And then the joke
They
is
need more time to sell the masks.
Fair enough. Well, you mean he needs to come out with a mask tomorrow night?
They would have started it 6 months ago.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yep.
$5 flash sale.
Exactly. That's a Cyber Monday deal.
And the reason, I mean, especially because the main reason why that baseball stadium broke the record is because it was giveaway mask day. So it's kind of like it really was. It was like a free mask giveaway day.
Yeah. Chris, do you have any thoughts as far as what's next for Callisto or Del Rio?
No, but I thought that this match had some missed spots. It seemed to me like there were some things that were being set up and it didn't materialize.
There was that one spot where it looked like Callisto was on Alberto Del Rio's back, and he went to go like a flip, but he kind of missed.
He missed a grip on it. Yeah, it happens. But the key with those two being so talented is they immediately kind of audibled it into a roll up, and that's why nobody really started like booing it or anything like that because they just corrected it so quickly and just fluidly went to the next thing. I mean, it's live entertainment. Things are going to happen.
That's the good part of a good commentator too, is kind of making up for that because now you're saying like, well, don't expect perfection. Little things like that. I like when commentators kind of make up for it.
And Ian von Schondorf in our chat says mask versus mask, Callisto versus Kane. Why not?
You have the masks.
You've already unmasked Kane. I mean, if Callisto's going to win, you don't lose anything.
Is there any big drama? Oh, Kane has to lose his mask. He has to take it off. We got to see that demon.
Wonder what he looks like.
Oh wait, he was the director of operations the whole time.
Triple H already made that money a long time ago, and it was on Raw.
Stephanie backstage with Paul Heyman. Pretty much Heyman wants to renegotiate Brock's contract, and Stephanie's just like, eliminate Reigns and we'll talk. That's pretty much that whole.
I like that. Yeah. And also the confidence is emanating from your pores, and then Stephanie's facial reaction of, don't talk about my pores ever again, Paul Heyman.
Christy, if I
never discuss a lady's pores on national television.
I was going to say, Christy, if I complimented your pores.
Well, if you're complimenting, then it's another story. No, it was a weird line. But I was glad that she made it into a thing.
That's important.
Yeah. Divas Championship on the line. Charlotte versus Becky. Only match of the night to have the in-ring introductions, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Because that made it, as far as all the matches up to the Rumble, made it feel like this was actually the biggest match on the card.
Although traditionally every match with a title should have that introduction, but I see...
But the fact that it was the only one, the fact that it was the only one kind of did make it feel like a big deal. Because even when I saw it, when they did do that, I'm like, wait, did I miss it on the first one? No. They announced the thing. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
It was also the only one during the pay-per-view that had the video package. I mean, the video packages for like the Last Man Standing and all that was on the kickoff, but during the pay-per-view, this was the only one that showed besides the Rumble itself. So they definitely hyped it up really well, and I thought the Divas lived up to it. They gave this match a good amount of time. Ric Flair is a dirty old man.
That was so unexpected, though, and just so appropriate, and just exactly what I would have wanted to happen because I didn't want it to happen.
I want to know if in the back they're like, "Hey, Becky, we're gonna do this thing where Flair's gonna kiss you."
But I feel like she'd be down for something like that.
I do too, but
just on TV, like. But I feel like the three of them got to work out their own match, or at least I hope so. And if I were Flair, I would let Charlotte work out as much of the match as Charlotte and Becky work as much of the match out, and just kind of bring him in on stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was probably Charlotte's idea, and she probably thought it was freaking hilarious.
And really quickly from chat, Kashvinder Man said that technically this was the singles main event.
And that is also true.
Which is very good for the Divas. Especially now that we know that division isn't as thin as we thought.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, they hyped this match up. They gave them time. I thought it was a very unique finish to this match. Becky has the match won. She has the disarmer on Charlotte. Flair hops on the apron. Becky's not letting go of the hold, but then Rick tosses his jacket.
That's priceless.
If he missed...
Oh, my God.
What would have happened?
I hope she would have been... I feel like she would have had the ring awareness to just stand up and get in his face.
Sure. But he hits it. Well, he hits it by throwing the jacket on top of her. Some people would have thought that should have been a DQ. Because that is a weapon.
Technically speaking, any object out of the sort. Because the foreign object was just an unannounced thing. So a jacket... is no worse than a foreign object.
And I'm sure his jacket was Italian, so therefore it really is a foreign object as well.
It's true.
I wonder.
Probably like a $5,000 blazer right there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well played, George. Well played.
So she takes the blazer off. Ref is with Flair. Good old thumb in the eye by Charlotte. And then a second spear by Charlotte. So no figure eight tonight, but she pins her with a second spear. Charlotte retains, continues to beat down Becky, but then someone's music plays. I believe it's a boss's music. Mark is on point.
Oh, yeah.
And the crowd explodes because you're in Orlando.
Oh.
And that was where Sasha dominated. And out she comes. First off, she kicks Becky out of the ring. And then bank statements on Charlotte. And pretty much like, hey, this Divas title is mine now.
Yeah, you're on notice.
Yeah, and we should have all seen this coming. I was half expecting there to be a Divas Melee at this point. When they started in, I was like, they're all going to come running out, and it's going to be like a lady-style kind of Royal Rumble thing. But Sasha Banks works just as well.
Yeah, there were people, including some of the sports books I was looking at, that had Sasha Banks in the Royal Rumble match.
Need to stop looking at sports books.
Never. Yeah, that's it's not very accurate.
Predictions check.
I mean, do you think they're setting up for Fastlane or WrestleMania? I know we want to say they're setting up for WrestleMania, but do you think they're setting it up for Mania or they're setting it up for Fastlane?
I think Fastlane's going to be a triple threat, and Mania will be singles.
Okay.
Or the other way.
It could be the other way too.
Not to mention, there is a Toronto show between Fastlane and WrestleMania that they're billing as Road to WrestleMania. That it's essentially a house show in Toronto on a Sunday night that they're airing live on the network. So there's a chance they'll have a lot more blow-off matches that you could do the triple threat, the single, and then the triple threat again with like a ladder. I want to see a
To be fair though, Steve, most of that tour is called the Road to WrestleMania, even though I know that's what the event is called too.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I've seen it on a couple articles where they claimed it was going to be a special.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you always have the talk of, oh, well, what about Paige? What about Nikki when she comes back and all that?
Let's not forget that Eva Marie is in the promo for Fastlane.
Oh, we're going to forget about that. And but the thing is, I think all of them are just going to kind of be held off, and I think from now to Mania, it's just going to be centered around those three divas.
I hope so.
And
Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky?
Yes.
I do feel bad for Naomi though. I know she's been working her ass off for the last year, with the heel turn and everything. So,
but I'd love to see the divas get 2 segments on like tomorrow or next week's Raw, or like 2 segments on a SmackDown, so someone like Naomi.
And they've been getting usually 2 segments on Raw, like 2 different matches and stuff. They can build other storylines that aren't around the Divas title.
Maybe 2 matches around in WrestleMania too. And it won't be the first time we've seen more than one Divas match at WrestleMania. So who knows? It can be the women's title match or Divas title match. I'm sorry, and then just another like a number 1 contenders match.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of divas and a lot of potential right now, and they only are just capitalizing on this one storyline.
And that leads us to the Royal Rumble match itself.
Which I have a Stump George we can just jump into.
You want to stump George?
Yeah. Just a real quick Stump George.
George seems intrigued.
It's
better than the last one.
It's from Dylan Matthews. He's in the chat. He PM'd me. He DM'd me on Twitter. He wanted me to have you name every Rumble winner and the person they eliminated.
Steve, it's only like an hour
show. We only have so much time, dude.
That wasn't the question. That's why I said I was like, well, I'll pick a year, and we'll see if he can name that year. The year I'm picking is 97. Who won the Rumble, and who did they throw out last?
Steve Austin threw out Bret Hart.
There it is. George
I even knew that one.
Technically speaking, Steve Austin didn't really win the match because he got eliminated before. So there's like an asterisk, but technically in the record books, he still won the Royal Rumble.
This guy's good.
And then Austin Rock, and then Vince McMahon and Rock Big Show.
And we can keep going.
Yeah, I don't want to hold the whole show up for this.
Let's get into this Rumble. So I got everyone in order on here. Obviously, a bunch of them we can kind of just cruise by real quick because they wouldn't really do much of anything.
Quick, I have a Stump George for the chat room.
Okay.
Obviously, this match included Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens that featured. They were in an Intercontinental title match early on in the show. So with it being a WWE title match, there's only been 4 people who have had a Intercontinental title match and a WWE title match on the same night on 2 different matches. Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, who? Go. And we'll be waiting.
He asked me this before the show. I got one of them. I couldn't think of the other one.
I'm sure somebody will get it in the chat room.
So Roman Reigns, obviously number 1, which we knew. Rusev then came out at number 2. So, okay, we're starting with the final 2 from last year. And Reigns eliminates Rusev in under 90 seconds.
Exactly 90 seconds.
Which, by the way, not the first time. The first 2 were the last 2.
Yep.
Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, 07 and 08.
Yep.
A little trivia fact. Maybe somebody...
They like to do that.
So
Lana got to come out though.
For a second. Lana was there for a second.
Yeah.
And didn't get to stay at ringside. She's like, oh, bye!
It's too dangerous.
But yeah, so again, you're trying to hype up the League of Nations, and one of your members gets eliminated with only one guy in the ring in 90 seconds.
Do you want to know who on this list could have looked like a chump like that?
There are several.
Several people could have looked like that chump. I mean, they actually made Titus O'Neil look good, but Titus O'Neil could have filled that spot.
But photogenic
Jack Swagger could have filled that spot.
But this is not important, because what's important is entrant number 3.
Of course.
Because all of a sudden we hear some music that we're not with.
And they stay close on Roman Reigns' face.
They do stay close on Roman Reigns' face. And you're hearing the crowd kind of buzzing, maybe even a little confused.
Oh, wait, what's that? Who is it? I don't know.
And all of a sudden, the screen says Phenomenal One. And we have AJ Styles finally showing up in WWE.
It's funny because like we watch and there's so much that can happen in a second or 2 seconds that can you can do so much. So yeah, there was on Roman. You hear a big roar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna be someone amazing. It's gonna be someone great. Oh my god, who is it gonna be? All those thoughts are like in the matter of 1 second.
Yep.
Then they finally cut to the entranceway and it is AJ Styles. And literally, I got up and I was like doing the yes chant because I thought it was so freaking amazing.
And I love the music of this too.
My side of this was the Rumble starts, and I go out on a limb. I've been going out on this limb for about 2 weeks, where I was like, "There's no way AJ Styles is going to get called straight to the main roster."
God,
the precedent was there. Like they didn't do that with CM Punk. They didn't do that with Samoa Joe. They didn't do that with Hideo Itami. They didn't do that with Prince Devitt. They didn't do that with Dean Ambrose or Tyler Black. Like they didn't do that with anyone who's at a similar level of AJ Styles. I thought for sure that the signing's big news, but he's going to show up in NXT. Just not at a highly publicized taping like last Friday. So I tweeted that. No, 0% chance of AJ Styles. He comes out at number 3. I throw my phone.
There's no way that he didn't have that in his contract, though. I'm sure he said, if I'm going to come over and I'm going to come in, you're putting me straight on the main roster, and I'm flying the star straight to the top, honey.
I'm sure he didn't have that in his contract. I'm sure they put that in his contract themselves.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the one guy.
Maybe he has a savvy agent.
I think maybe. I think he's the one guy left in the entire world that's never been in the WWE that can go straight to the main roster.
Yeah, there are many, and Steve, to your point, I was saying like Joe didn't, Hideo didn't. To me, worldwide, AJ was more popular than them.
I'd put them on par, but I might be.
I
might be jaded.
I personally would have AJ above them because of all the titles he's held everywhere in the last few years. And I couldn't. I was shocked, and the crowd
Same
exploded, and he was great. He was phenomenal.
And an Orlando
no
crowd.
pun intended. Of course, that's the right crowd to do it in.
Because if you go on WWE.com, they do like a quick bio on him, and they talk about how he wrestled Sting in Orlando multiple times.
He also wrestled Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in Los Angeles.
He did.
At PWG.
Yeah.
Real quick hint for the stump. My question for you guys. One person did get the right answer right is Roddy Piper. The other person, you're thinking completely wrong. I think you guys are thinking Royal Rumble. Think outside of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
All right. So number 4, Tyler Breeze. He wasn't there very long. Curtis Axel, number 5, finally got in and then out. Number 6, Jericho.
By the way, finally Curtis Axel, because he's been in the Rumble for like a year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was finally longest elimination ever. 6, Chris Jericho.
Okay, when he came out this early on, I was like, well, he doesn't have the cardio to last, so this should be over soon. And that was not the case.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this guy. This guy, it was just a few years ago when he was like number 2 and lasted 45 plus minutes. Tonight, he lasted like
50-50. 50 minutes, 50 seconds.
He was in the Rumble for 50 minutes tonight?
50 minutes, 50 seconds.
Jesus.
Of an hour 10 Rumble?
I mean, the dude...
Hour
right, we gotta give it to him.
The dude doesn't stop. It's amazing. And he hasn't wrestled in a few months.
I think this is his first match, right?
He's been on TV the last few weeks, but he hasn't wrestled. And here he is, just going for 50 minutes.
Must be that DDP yoga that he always promotes on his podcast.
Also, I loved what happened here with AJ Styles and Roman Reigns going straight at each other, and then other people just kind of getting in the way. Like Tyler Breeze and Curtis Axel just got in the way of Roman Reigns and AJ Styles going at it. Which, to anyone who didn't know who AJ Styles was heading into this match, you put him on par with Roman Reigns, which is brilliant and smart.
Yep. After Jericho came Kane, who, I mean, it's Kane, but no one really
unannounced. Kane.
No, he wasn't announced to be in at all.
I was curious if he was going to get eliminated early, and then he was going to come back as corporate Kane.
Yep. Goldust number 8. And he's been in a lot of these.
Yeah.
Ryback number 9. Sorry, Christy. 10 was Kofi, and I was very surprised he was the only New Day member in the Rumble. I mean, you would think, actually, if it was only one, it would have been Woods, because he wasn't in the tag title match.
Yeah, but you can't keep Kofi Kingston out of a Royal Rumble match. Say that 10 times fast.
It looks like they were trying to put looked like they were going to get Woods in, and then the graphic for like, oh, this is number 10, kind of Kofi Kingston. Before he even took off his jacket, I was like, oh,
yeah,
because
it looked like it was hyping up. They were trying to the crowd. They were trying to make it look like, oh, it's going to be Woods, and then he just points to Jericho to go, or Jericho, Kofi. Yeah. You know who I meant. 11, Titus, who we actually mentioned a minute ago, he had a pretty good showing.
Great. Like he did a nice ring clearing. Like knocked everybody down, only one elimination.
Yep.
But he looked great, and then
number 12, R-Truth. R-Truth. And it was funny because as soon as his music hits, I'm just like, oh, how's he gonna what's he gonna think this is? He's gonna make a mistake. But he goes and runs to the ring. I'm like, oh, he's just gonna be in there to compete. But then he grabs a ladder.
Oh, this was priceless.
He thinks it's a Money in the Bank or something, and he grabs a ladder, sets it up in the ring. Climbs up. Everyone's looking at him. What the hell is going on?
I think he's like a monk because, like you said, I think it's still like a TLC match because I think closer to the TLC, he thought he was in the WWE Championship tournament, which is at Survivor Series, and then now TLC. So I think next month he's going to start throwing people over the top rope, or
he's just a month. He's a month behind.
Yeah,
he's just a month behind.
Or if he's in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, like he'll have to start pinning people in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And then if he's in the Money in the Bank, he'll have to start throwing people up over the top.
Maybe. But I was kind of surprised that they didn't keep the ladder in the ring for some people to use.
I thought they were going to keep it so Kofi can do something with it.
Right. Yeah. Someone could do some move.
Well, then somebody threw it out of the ring. And I thought... Kane threw it out of the ring, and I thought, well, maybe Kofi's going to land on the ladder. But that didn't seem like a double down from... Because they always like to top themselves with the Kofi spot.
Yeah. And Kofi's spot this year... I wasn't too crazy about it. He landed on Big E's shoulders, and they're just dancing around. And then, it happens probably close around this time, where the League of Nations take out Roman Reigns and beat him down. And in the midst of that is when Kofi officially got eliminated, and no one saw it.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, they mentioned it, and then they had to show it on the replay like a few minutes later.
Yeah, because I was sitting there watching, I'm like, where's New Day? I don't see him hanging around ringside.
Because I think it was right in the round where the League of Nations came in and jumped Roman Reigns.
Yep.
That has to be it.
Yeah.
There were several of those missed moments during this Royal Rumble match. A lot, where the camera didn't seem to be in the right place, or someone wasn't calling the right shot. Whatever it was, there were a few things that I was like, would have loved to see that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there's only 29 eliminations. They're all really important.
And something in the corner, like where Ambrose and Owens were working a lot too, something where the cameraman couldn't get in there enough, or something where you did not see anything that was going on in that corner, and they should have had it fixed. Come on.
But we're kind of talking about League of Nations and how they are as a group and stuff. So let's talk about how they pulled their target from the bottom of the row, from the bottom row.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not eliminated. Beat him down. And then left him there. When they should have instead, hey, we beat him down. Now let's throw you back in the ring so then they can throw you out.
I remember thinking that.
Those were the social outcasts, right? That's what they did because they're screw-ups?
No, actually, no, Mark. This was the League of Nations. This was supposed to be the strong faction.
Oh, what?
I know, right? Not only that, Rusev just took a TV. Are they going to take that out of his check?
He did take him out of
He literally just that's a huge... It's like a huge tube monitor. Those are expensive.
I think they need to do
That's why he hugged Vince. He was like, sorry.
Kind of like how they adjust the NFL rules every few years. I think there should be a few rule adjustments for the Royal Rumble. If you get hurt, if you go through under the rope and you get hurt and you go past the curtain, I think that should be an automatic elimination. If you're hurt and if you need medical attention, stay there. But if you go to the backstage, it's like, well, you can't just hang out. We don't know what you're doing backstage.
I don't think we need rules like that. I think we need matches booked without this logic. But this was clearly... this exact same thing happened to Austin in 99.
Mm-hmm.
Including the end.
Right.
For the most part, that it was... The boss doesn't want you to win. He draws you number one. He puts a target on your back. You wind up outside the ring and hurt. You get taken away in a stretcher. Although this year Roman Reigns didn't get to look really cool and hijack a ambulance like Austin did years prior.
I will say this, 17 years is a long time though.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I'm sure maybe there's kind of new fans, because I even think about that too, where let's see, in 99, let me see, I'm trying to think, in 17 years before that was 82, then that was an eternity ago.
Yep.
So it's like... Yeah, I think for us, long-time fans, we're like, oh, well, they're just redoing it. To a lot of new fans, I'm sure, I've never seen this ending before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 13 was Luke Harper, who, honestly, he was one of my MVPs of this Rumble. I thought Luke Harper did phenomenal. No pun intended.
He's the
AJ
MVP
Styles.
of that team.
I thought he did fantastic. Stardust came in at 14. He was around for a while. Didn't really do, nothing super noteworthy, but was in the Rumble for a long period of time.
And he made his spread. He was in at 14 and out at 14. Which, for someone who doesn't do very much in a Rumble, that's actually very rare.
15 was Big Show.
Yeah.
Big Show.
He's like a.
He had a promo about
Big
this.
Show. Let's put Big Show, and then let's make a big deal about the guy who eliminates him.
Yeah.
It's like a every year kind of thing.
Yeah. It was those classic, do we think Big Show's going to win? Because he's the biggest entrant in the Rumble, and he's never won a Rumble.
Yeah. And it's not like the Khali spot either. Whereas the Khali spot is normally that 5 people gang up on Khali and throw him over. Mm-hmm. Whereas Big Show, one person needs to get that rub. And this year it was Braun Strowman. Who looked great.
Yeah. He was number 17. 16 was Neville. Yeah, Strowman, he looked very good in this Rumble. I was honestly pleasantly surprised with how long he was in this Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I reiterate, I really think that they are building Strowman-Lesnar at WrestleMania. It's been being talked about for a long time, and it seemed outlandish at first, but I really feel like that's what they're selling us.
I disagree.
I think it's Jericho. If we're just going to jump right in, I think it's Jericho-Lesnar, and I think it's Lesnar-Wyatt's. It's Lesnar-Wyatt's in the middle. Lesnar-Wyatt's during Fastlane to build him back up from losing this Rumble. So that Lesnar can face Jericho, because Jericho keeps slinking out of the way. I think Jericho Lesnar's the money, or Kevin Owens Lesnar's the money, but they'll never do that.
I think it'll be Brock Lesnar, Bray Wyatt, and I think AJ faces Jericho. Jericho always comes back and faces whoever he wants anyways. I'm sure he's going to want to face AJ.
We shall see, but we see Kevin Owens coming at number 18 with one leg. While Reigns has to go to the back, Kevin Owens can't walk, and he's heading to the ring. Who's the tougher guy now?
Well, Reigns should have gotten on the damn stretcher.
That's what annoyed me too. Was
get on the
he
stretcher.
Walked to the back. If you can't go or you can't be in the Rumble, you should get stretchered out. If you can walk, you should be in the Rumble. Don't walk to the back.
Yeah. 19 then was Ambrose, who also was limping. So, they still. And I said this on SmackDown. I said, if that match was first, then they'll be in the Rumble. And thankfully they were first, so we got to have them in the Rumble. But then we have number 20, Mr. Sami Zayn, show up. And immediately they go to Zayn Owens. Which is what we wanted. Which is what... I was thinking the Intercontinental title will still be on Owens' waist when Zayn came up there. But they can use the story and George, how you were kind of talking about earlier with the commentary and stuff. Here, you give them credit because they talk about how these guys used to be best friends. They brought it up. And so that's right there, I feel, is already seed planted now for Mania for the two of them. And I'm looking forward to that.
I agree.
21 was Rowan. Did the usual wide stuff. 22, Mark Henry. He earned this spot, remember, guys? He earned that spot from that kickoff match. Mark Henry, the world's strongest man.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, and we didn't really catch it. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. Another missed one.
And he earned that spot. That was rather annoying.
And then 23 was a guy named Brock Lesnar.
Didn't he play? Didn't he play in Minnesota briefly?
He tried to. He wanted to be a Minnesota Viking.
And he played crazy.
Just like Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do that MMA thing?
Maybe. I think for some minor league organization. The champ is hoarse from his celebration. But yeah, Brock Lesnar destroyed everyone.
As he should.
Yeah. But this went for 10 minutes straight at least of him destroying everything in his path.
Including the next person out, Jack Swagger, who did 15 seconds.
He earned his spot, though.
He earned those 15
that spot.
seconds.
That was his spot to be the shortest entrant in this year's Rumble. Congrats, Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
We the people. We the people.
Yeah. And then after him,
that music was almost as long as his Rumble.
It was just about.
Yeah.
But after him, I noticed The Miz, who walks into this foray, but instead grabs the microphone for the commentary.
Smart.
And says, "This isn't my time yet." Which I found kind of the difference between both people. Whereas I feel like Jack Swagger's either not in a place to speak up when it comes to hey, I'm going to look really weak here, or he just won't. from what I've read about like the actual performers and the places and spots they're given, the Jack Swagger's more likely to just be like, okay, 15 seconds, sure, I won't look ridiculous.
Oh, and by the way, Miz D World, not a real place. I looked it up.
Yet.
That's probably what they call their house with the freaking jacuzzi and the whole business.
I loved Miz in this Rumble, and it was a smart thing. You know, this is a classic heel strategy that we don't see enough. Hey, I'm in the Rumble, even though I'm not wrestling. I can hang on a commentary. Oh, I see Brock Lesnar in there. I see Braun Strowman in there. I see Luke Harper in there. I'm gonna wait and hope that these guys get eliminated, and then I'll go from there. Del Rio comes in at 26. And then Bray comes in at 27, and as Bray comes in, it was at that point that Harper, Rowan, and Strowman have all been eliminated.
Mm-hmm. Before Bray comes in.
Before Bray even gets there. And then Bray and Lesnar have a moment together, and then the rest of the Wyatts still jump on in, beat him down, and eliminate Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. And then Brock Lesnar's freaking out. Paul Heyman's freaking out. Yelling at referees.
Lesnar, to me, didn't freak out, though.
I think it was rather calm, to be honest.
He was very calm. And it was because then 28 is Ziggler, and he's running down. In my mind, that's right around where Lesnar's about to, like,
literally
walking out.
Lesnar, where I was like, oh, he's going to get clotheslined.
I was like, he is going to take Ziggler's head off. And nothing. He just calmly kind of walked to the back.
And this is the same Brock Lesnar who the night after WrestleMania, like, beat down on random cameramen. F5 cameramen, but I think tomorrow we're going to get a Paul Heyman promo saying, I didn't even want to be in that Royal Rumble match. My client is still a disputed champion. Mm-hmm. All of those, like, I think we're going to get that it's like, we don't care about this.
Yep.
And then why it's going to come out.
29 was Sheamus, who at this point then, as he's heading to the ring, gets Superman punched by Reigns. So Reigns seems perfectly fine now because he had a little breather. And I honestly thought Sheamus wasn't even going to be in the Rumble. I thought he would just be out and pull a Curtis Axel over the next year. But then finally, number 30, the game. Mr. Triple H.
Unannounced.
Not
on TV.
Nope.
Still could be selling that neck injury that he didn't sell at NXT that one time in London.
He shows up. And he's ready to fight. And he goes after everyone. It's not just Reigns. He's fighting just like he was a regular old superstar. This gets down to the final four of this year's Rumble. Sheamus, Reigns, Triple H, and Ambrose. Sheamus gets eliminated, and then Reigns eliminated Sheamus, and then Triple H eliminated Reigns. Reigns ends in third.
So he's not the world champion.
He is not. We're guaranteed a new world champion, and the crowd goes nuts. And honestly, I'm at the edge of my seat because I'm like, they are going to let Ambrose win both titles.
That would be amazing.
That was my thought. My thought was not Triple H winning. My thought was, oh my God, they're going to let Ambrose win the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Or at the very least, like, because they still milk that for another 2 minutes. That we all got to live in that world for 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. That Dean Ambrose can throw Triple H out of the ring at the Royal Rumble match and win the WWE Championship on the same night that he defended the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
Dean Ambrose, all of our guy. Because we got to live in that world and realize that world, and everybody else did. So when the realistic thing happens, which Triple H wins, we still get to see Dean Ambrose that light. We made Dean Ambrose tonight.
Mm-hmm. I do think we see Triple H versus Dean Ambrose at Fastlane as the main event.
We could.
Fastlane?
Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, Triple H eliminates Dean Ambrose. The Authority is back in control. Triple H is now a 2-time Rumble winner and a 14-time world champion. And there are some people that have been pissed about this. I am not. When you break it down, there's so many injuries. And there are so many... There are many different ways you could have gone. But if you need to keep the fact... the story of this was Vince McMahon and the Authority screwing over Roman Reigns. And they did just that. And now Reigns' worst nightmare is there, where essentially the title is back in the hands of the corporation. If you go back to kind of Attitude Era-esque. So, and there's a lot of things, again, you can use Ambrose in this. Obviously, you have Reigns. Bray still wants that title.
I like
he wants
the little,
to hold
I like
his
the little
hands.
face-off that
Lesnar
they had with
always
Bray
wants that
and
title.
Triple H.
Yep, and you still have Lesnar wanting the title as well. So there's a lot of different ways that this can go, and I'm really looking forward because, guys, we are officially on the road to WrestleMania now. Woo! You guys can do better than that. We're on the road to WrestleMania.
Hoorah!
Woo woo.
Wow.
I went for it.
Wow. Okay.
I will say just, and the reason I picked Triple H to win was I knew that down the line, WrestleMania, 70 days from now, it's going to be Triple H, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's what I know. What I felt was that match, given everything, doesn't need to be for the WWE Championship.
You're right. And Mark Chun in the chat, real quick, because we got to wrap this up. He brought up. He just said in the chat, "How am I not pissed? This means Triple H's main event in WrestleMania." No, it's not. Triple H is the champion. He might lose it at Fastlane. He might not be in the main event at WrestleMania.
Roman might cost him the belt at WrestleMania to whoever he loses.
Right.
I'm sorry, at Fastlane.
Yeah, this is a thing where the way they set this up is a matter of, hey, whoever won the Rumble is not guaranteed in the main event of WrestleMania. They won the championship.
Check this out. I got it.
What you got?
So Heyman and Stephanie were talking before the Rumble. Heyman thinks that Stephanie deliberately caused Brock Lesnar to get eliminated. It was within her rule that 3 people who were eliminated couldn't come back in the Rumble, and then her husband is the champ. I don't like that. So we got Lesnar and Triple H at Fastlane, where Triple H loses the title.
I like that.
That works brilliantly.
I think in some ways we need to see Roman maybe cost Triple H the belt, though, for some reason. Just because that would maybe create more tension for WrestleMania. I like that scenario, too, though.
Well, yeah, and then that scenario could lead to one of two things. It could lead to Roman getting involved in that match. It could lead to the Wyatts getting involved in that match and screwing Lesnar. I mean, there are multiple options. And we'll be getting into that with Raw tomorrow night as we begin this road to WrestleMania. And it's been a blast talking about the Rumble, and of course we will keep this conversation going on various forms of social media. Our esteemed, and I use that word lightly, predictions champion Steve Kaufmann, how can people reach out to you?
People can reach out to me right here, right now, but also on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. I do a lot of shows here at AfterBuzz TV, tweet about them fairly regularly. This shirt courtesy of ProWrestlingTees.com.
So yes, Roddy Piper, 1992 Royal Rumble, defeated the Mountie and was in the Royal Rumble match for the WWE title, so that's 2 matches. New Year's Revolution 2006, Edge versus Ric Flair, and then he also cashed in the Money in the Bank for the WWE title. If you want to try to stump me more, hashtag Stump George, or you can just go to G Hermoza, GHERMOZA, on Twitter, on Instagram. Feel free to follow me. Feel free to play me in WWE 2K6 as you get destroyed by this one.
Christy?
I suck in that game, though.
Well, I want to say hello to Benjamin Moyer. Hi. Sorry that I
Go
missed
to
you when you
bed!
were here.
It's past your bedtime, Ben.
But you guys can all tweet me and keep up with me on Instagram at Christy Reports. And please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Christy Reports and watch the Total Divas After Show, 8 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday night.
All right, and you can follow me on Twitter at Will Rosenberg, Instagram at The Will Rosenberg, and of course, my lovely Christian Rosenberg t-shirts. You can buy them at ProWrestlingTees.com/Christian Rosenberg. And Mark, plug your Twitter real quick.
Around.
So, go ahead. Give us a quick spin, Chris.
Well, this is a special
There's
custom
no point
made
to have it
shirt.
on the back if you're not going to show everyone.
This
There
is
it
a
is.
custom made. As I hit a monitor, a custom made Rosenberg shirt
We got
that I have. That one's not on the website, but you could you can
Special
buy
order.
this one too somehow. Mark, plug your Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter at SoapboxMark. I do the NXT After Show on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And also, special announcement this Thursday. The fans have been listened to. We are going to start the Lucha Underground After Show. Starting 10 p.m. Thursday night with Ty Matthews, Jared Gilkerson, and the Jimbo Slice, Mr. James Frank. So make sure to tune into that Thursday night at 10 p.m.
There you
That's
go.
a fantastic panel.
That's
I love
right.
It.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Royal Rumble AfterBuzz for Steve Kaufmann, George Hermoza, Christy Olson, and Mark Donica in the booth. I am Christian Rosenberg, and we are on the road to WrestleMania.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.